July 21st, 1999, Huntsville, Alabama. A NASA engineer watches his monitor and sees files vanish. Someone is inside their network right now. Systems that help keep astronauts alive start showing signs of tampering. Life support code, environmental controls, logs disappearing in real time. At the Pentagon, classified emails are being siphoned. Passwords for sensitive systems show up in packet captures. The alarm goes off at the highest levels. Who could be inside those machines? Where is the attacker connecting from? And how can you stop a ghost in the wires? This is the story of Jonathan, a teenager in Miami, with a modem, a spiral notebook, and a knack for finding the thin places in big systems. We begin with a kid who loved computers. He was curious before he was a teenager. At 6, he taught himself menus and commands. By 8, he had cracked parental controls. By 12, he was more interested in exploits than video games. School was background noise. Network diagrams covered his wall. While other kids collected baseball cards, Jonathan collected zero-day bugs and stack traces. He joined online channels, IRC rooms, with names like Hack the Planet, and learned techniques older programmers respected: buffer overflows, packet sniffers, privilege escalation. One mentor taught him a cardinal rule: escalate quietly, never hit the same target twice. He learned fast, and he learned mistakes matter. Practice came first. In February 1999, he found an unpatched Solaris server at a major telecom. Bell South's system was running old software. He slipped in, explored customer and billing databases, and left almost no trace. 4 hours of access, nothing taken, nothing altered, a private test that proved he could get inside a Fortune 500 system. Then came Huntsville. On June 29, 1999, a routine scan returned an IP tied to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. The reverse DNS looked like a typo. His pulse rose. He probed carefully. A buffer overflow in the BIND-DNS service gave him a foot in the door. A kernel exploit published weeks earlier moved him up to root. In 17 minutes, he had admin on multiple interconnected machines. What he found was chilling. Code repositories build scripts and documentation that described environmental control and life support systems for the International Space Station. The software controlled oxygen pumps, CO2 scrubbers, water recycling, everything that kept astronauts alive. He began a download at 11:43 p.m. On a 56K modem, the transfer crawled. Every percent of the progress bar felt like a prize. 2 hours later, he had the entire ECLSS codebase, thousands of files and millions of lines. He read it, copied it, and marveled at the poor quality, hard-coded values, deprecated calls, inconsistent comments. To him, NASA's million-dollar software looked like a messy student project. His discovery mattered. It set off a chain reaction inside the agency. On July 7th, administrators noticed odd CPU usage on a support server. They followed logs, found a rootkit, and made a hard choice. For the next 21 days, planners took critical systems offline. 43 servers were physically disconnected while work proceeded on isolated backups. The International Space Station continued to orbit, 6 astronauts aboard. But Mission Control moved much of its work to air-gapped machines until they could verify no backdoors remained. Meanwhile, Jonathan kept probing. If NASA was this exposed, what about the Defense Threat Reduction Agency and the Pentagon? He moved on to military networks. He exploited an old Cisco IOS on the router backbone at Dulles, then deployed a custom sniffer that mirrored traffic to his server. Over weeks, he captured thousands of emails, nearly 2,000 unique passwords, and accounts that belonged to active military personnel. He logged into workstations and read plans that were not meant for public hands, contingency schedules, threat assessments, and even notes about cooperative threat reduction programs moving nuclear materials in the former Soviet sphere. Jonathan didn't weaponize those documents. He saved them. He encrypted a folder he called Pentagon Trophies and kept it as a private record of what he had found. On IRC, he bragged in veiled terms. One sentence from a classified memo, redacted, was enough for the channel to understand. Comrade had cleared the gates, but mistakes accumulate. Investigators chasing the tunnels of traffic saw patterns. The intrusion hopped through proxies across 9 countries. Deliberate and messy routing meant to frustrate attribution, yet the attacker made one slip. A 3-second direct connection from a domestic IP. That trace led back to a Bell South customer in Florida. Cross-referencing with NASA's logs pointed to one name, Jonathan James, age 16, a South Miami High student. The FBI closed in. Surveillance followed. Agents watched him ride his bike to school, sit alone in the cafeteria, and walk home at 3:15 p.m. He was brilliant but thin on normal teenage things. Classes missed, grades hit by obsession, social life narrowed to code and IRC handles. On January 26, 2000, agents executed a planned arrest. They expected barricades and sophisticated countermeasures. Instead, they found a suburban bedroom. He was at his computer, headphones on, typing. He looked up and said, "I wondered when you'd show up." They seized drives, floppies, notebooks, a hardware archive of intrusions and tools. In interrogation, he spoke easily, walking agents through exploits he had used. One investigator later said Jonathan taught them more about their vulnerabilities in 6 hours than audits had found in 6 years. At trial, the facts were uncompromising. Prosecutors stressed the unprecedented nature of his access. NASA, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, and sensitive defense documents. They calculated damages at more than $1.7 million and sought harsh penalties. Yet he cooperated. He showed how he did it. He briefed federal teams. Judge Barry Garber handed down a sentence that aimed to redirect talent rather than bury it. 6 months in juvenile detention, 3 years probation, a ban on recreational computer use until 18, and community service teaching computer literacy. He also required Jonathan to brief security teams, an odd but practical twist that turned the kid who broke in into a forced consultant. Release came in March 2001. The world had moved. The dot-com bubble burst, and a new set of national security fears was about to arrive. But the aftermath of that teenage breach stretched on. Years later, Jonathan faced suspicion in other incidents he did not commit. He felt hunted by an ecosystem that remembered his name. On May 18, 2008, at age 24, he took his own life. He left a note that echoed frustration and loss of faith in the system that had once both punished and prized his skill. The story is wrenching and complicated. A teenager exposed the thin seams in national security networks. He showed that sometimes cheap, neglected systems are the easiest to break and the most dangerous to ignore. He also became a casualty of the penalties and stigmas that attach to hackers, even when they cooperate. So what did Jonathan's work teach us? First, security is only as strong as its weakest patch. Unpatched services and default passwords invite disaster, even for agencies with huge budgets. Second, curiosity does not always equal malice, but curiosity that isn't channeled can become reckless. Systems need pathways for disclosure, safe ways for talented outsiders to report flaws without fear of prison. Third, attribution is hard. Attackers root through proxies and countries, but operational mistakes can reveal them. Investigations are a cat and mouse game. Fourth, institutional response matters. NASA shut systems down for 21 days to be safe, a painful but necessary step. The agencies learned, patched, and hardened defenses. But learning is costly and often reactive. And the human cost? Jonathan's death is a tragic coda. A skilled mind became entangled in punishment, suspicion, and isolation. The cybersecurity community remembers him as both a cautionary tale and a pioneer. His Pentagon Trophies folder reportedly remains unopened in evidence lockers. Some secrets he exfiltrated may still sleep under layers of encryption. In the end, The story isn't just about a teenage hacker. It's about how we build technology, how we value talent, and how we punish curiosity. Could Jonathan's skills have been redirected without a raid and a sentence? Could a formal bug bounty culture or a clear disclosure pathway have turned a national embarrassment into a national asset? Those are policy questions we still wrestle with today. One kid with a modem taught us that the perimeter is porous and human systems are the real weakness.